Hi all, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to create reports. You have to start with a PNG file, so for your panel, and then you start out with a seamless design as well. And my seamless design is also a PNG, so we have those two set up. And then all I've done is open a new document in Inkscape. It is not set up at all. It's just default to the, I believe it's A4 sheet setup or canvas setup. So first thing we're going to do is go to File and then Document Properties, or Shift Control D. And here we don't worry too much about the A4. It will automatically switch to custom in a second. We want things to be in inches, so I'm going to format it in inches and set display units to inches. And then the width of our document is going to be 59 inches, which is the width of the fabric. And then we are going to set height to 36 inches, the length of a yard. So it's going to automatically switch to landscape mode, and we don't have to change anything else here. So we can just click X, it'll be saved. And first thing we have to do is go down to our percentage down here in the right hand corner, second from the right. And I like to hold just Control and scroll down, and it will automatically zoom out our project. Oh, looks like we still have to zoom out. There it is. Center it on the page a little bit more. This is just so I can see the whole thing at once. What we're going to do first, we're going to make sure our snapping is on. That'll make things a lot easier. So make sure it's highlighted some way. Then we're going to go over and we're going to create two rectangles. One for the seamless design part of the report and one for the panel part of the report. So first we'll create the panel part of the report. So just draw any size rectangle, doesn't matter at all what size you draw. And then we're going to change the width to be 20 inches, and the height can stay at 36 if you made it the full height of your document. So that is all set for our, and it doesn't matter what color it is. Mine just happens to be black. Yours could be purple, it doesn't matter. We are going to change it later anyways. So then we are going to, well, first, if your rectangle is selected, click off it so it's not selected anymore. Then click your rectangle tool again. And you can draw any size rectangle you want, but if you want to save time, you can start right at the X here, you can see, and draw all the way out to fill the rest of your canvas. And you'll see up here, it's 39 inches by 36 inches, which is perfect. If you drew a smaller size or a different size rectangle, just change your width and height here to make sure it's 39 inches wide and 36 inches tall. Click on your selector tool and then click off. So the next thing we're going to do is bring in our seamless file. So we're going to import, and then remember where we put it, which mine is in Documents. And then double click. And you can leave these should be defaults, so it should be fine, but just double check that you are embedding the image. Take the DPI from the file, which you should have already checked, but it should be 300 DPI to print properly. Image rendering mode is set to none, and we can click OK. Okay, and then it'll be brought in. So we can put it right here in the upper left-hand corner of the larger rectangle of our report. And up here, we're going to see the width. Width is set to 10 and height is set to 10. You can click lock so that they always stay proportional. Normally, so for reports that were made by Northern Fabric, for our regular scale 6x6, we're just going to hit 6 and enter, and it's going to automatically scale that image to 6x6. So our next step to make this design fill that rectangle is we go to Object. We go to Edit, Clone, Create Tiled Clones. So again, that's Edit, Clone, Create Tiled Clones. We leave it on the Symmetry tab. We make sure it is set to Simple Translation. Down here, we're not going to do rows and columns. We're going to do width and height. And we're going to type in the width and height of our rectangle, which is, width is 39, yes, 39, and height is 36. And you can see that's already set to inches. And we've checked off use saved size and position of the file. Then we just click create. I'm going to leave it here if you just want to double check your settings. And then we click create. For me, it takes a minute, so don't double click or do anything. Just let it figure out what it's going to do. And then we're going to, once you can see that it's tiled in the background, you can click close. Then we are going to go over to our layers and objects tab over here in the right column of our screen. We need to group these all together so they're one object. Right now they are all individual objects. So we're going to click our top one that says use 50 by default, scroll down, and it goes from use 2 to image 1. Image 1 is our first image that we brought in, so we want to include it in our group. So holding down Shift, you are going to select, helps if you're holding down Shift, select image 1 and select use 50 or whatever your top use is, and that will select all of them. And then do Control G or Object Group, which will switch all of these images into one big image. And you can see in my layers tab, it's now grouped them all. You can see if you expand the folder, they're all there. So the next thing we have to do, as we can see, it's going outside of our canvas. So what we're going to do is put rectangle 2, drag it above the grouping. So now we can't see it, and that's exactly what we want. We can only see these parts that we want to get rid of. So we're going to hold down Shift and select, make sure that your rectangle is selected, as well as your grouped objects. So you hold down Shift and click both. So now it looks like just the back one is selected, but we can see over in our layers that Rectangle 2 and G50 are both selected. Then we're going to go to Object, Clip, Set Clip, or Control M. So Object, Clip, Set Clip. And it automatically removes that rectangle. As you can see, it is still there. Or no, sorry, it is gone. Rectangle 1 is our panel. So the Rectangle 2 is gone, and it has taken with it the extra parts that were outside of our canvas area. So now the seamless portion of our report is done. Now we have to import our panel image, which I just double click. Double check that all these settings are correct. Embed from File, None. Click OK. And we're going to drag it onto the panel. You can put it anywhere, decide how far down you want it, but don't worry about left to right because we're going to center it. If it's not dragging, make sure that your arrows are these straight up and down and not curved. So, and you can switch between them by just clicking once or clicking twice on the image. Then you also want to make sure you're on the selection tool. So now with this being black, we can't even see my text that is on my PNG. So what you're probably going to want to do is select your panel rectangle. So you can see Rectangle 1 over here, or just click with your selection tool onto the rectangle. And then you are going to want to select your dropper tool, which you can do by pressing D, or you can just click on the button over here. And then you want to bring your mouse over to the color on the seamless file that you want to use for your panel. So for me, I want to pick the beige background color. So I've set my dropper tool on the beige background, and you click once, and it's going to automatically change that selected rectangle. So we go back up here and click on our selection tool, or click S. And now I've brought down my image about as much as I want vertically. But now I want to make sure it's centered horizontally. So what you do is you hold down Shift and make sure that you've selected both your panel rectangle and your PNG. Then go over to View, should be View. Oh, here we go. Okay. So now that you have both the PNG and the panel rectangle selected, you can see the image one and the rectangle one, not our G50, not our group. You click on this little drop down button here, and then you are going to select Align and Distribute. So that comes up here, and then you make sure it says relative to selection area, and click on the center on the vertical axis. And you click that, and then you should see it move slightly into the center if it wasn't already there. And that is all it takes to create. Well, now it's all created, we just have to save it. So if you go File, Save As, you want to save it as an SVG first, just in case you want to tweak this in the future. If we automatically save it as a PNG, we're not going to be able to change anything. So I'm going to say sewing report, and it's going to be SVG. Make sure it's saving where you want it to save. Save. Now that it's saved as SVG, which is the Inkscape default type, you are going to go to File, Export, and here is where we set our DPI. So make sure it is set to 300 DPI. The width and height should be fine. And make sure it's saving to the right spot down here and that it's set as PNG. And you can click Export. It's going to take a minute to go through all the processing to export it, but that is all you have to do to have your own report. And if we come back over here to where I saved it, you can see I have my SVG. That is the one that I will use to edit this in the future if, say, I had to tweak where the image was on the panel or anything like that, or if I wanted to tweak the scale of the seamless file, I could do that too. So if we double click PNG, sewing report.png, you can see here that it's come out perfect. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to message me and I'll walk you through it. But this is how you do it. So thanks for watching.